Yay.
Yay! Hi, everyone, and welcome to this session, this Facebook Live that Tonia and I are doing, redefining abundance. So we're just going to make sure that we are going live where we need to be going live. So Tonia is going to go onto my page and make sure that we're
That I'm
sharing it.
sharing. Yeah.
Yay! Fantastic. Great.
And I got it. Yep, there it
The
is.
technology is working. So we are really excited to be with you this evening. I think it's going to be evening for most of the people watching, or you may be watching the recording. It's all good. You're still going to benefit from all the magic of this session. And we we are so excited to be with you and sharing this. We've been talking about it earlier today and we've been getting really excited. So hopefully that comes across to you. So before we dive in, and we're going to be here for about 30 minutes, but we just wanted to introduce ourselves to you. Some of you may just know me, some of you may just know Tonia. If you know both of us, then lucky you.
Yes, it is.
But Tonia, do you want to go ahead first and introduce yourself?
Oh, absolutely. So my name is Tonia, and as you saw, I am the money whisperer and financial intuitive. And I've been doing money work for like the past, God, like 15 years now, and in different ways of doing it in the corporate world, where I was an operations manager and a finance director, and that's where I got my logical side of money. And then at 30, I decided to open up my own business, and I started doing organizing, and from there, I just started to go into money organization, and I would work with people and do their budgets for their business and their homes. And I would start to see this story that started coming up. And it was this underlying tone of there were some people who made six figures and there were people who didn't make six figures, but yet the story was still the same. I have this problem with money. And so I started to see that there was a theme, and the amount of money did not make a difference. And that led me into what I'm doing now. And that's just really connecting with the money stories, the money beliefs, and getting behind all of it, because really money is just a tool. Money's really fun. And I really believe in the joy of it. And I just want to unlock the joy of it so that people could just use money as a tool and be empowered around it. So that's my quick little, how I got here. And to be honest, I was obsessed with it as a kid also. So it's sort of like I'm realizing I've had a long romance with money all along, and I've really found it to be a really fun tool. And as I worked with people, I started to really see how painful it was, some money, like the story of money was, and it was really blocking them. So my experience of money is not the same as others. So I really feel called to break the illusion of money and to just start having so much fun with money and enjoying it.
Fantastic. Yay. And that's kind of what we bonded over, because my background is, there's certainly similarities to Tonia's background. And when we met, we were like, really? You're kidding me? We've both been kind of doing this work, but coming from different angles. And my background is in business, in finance. I worked for many years in finance. I was a financial advisor, financial planner. So like Tonia, I had that kind of practical approach to money and investments and all of those kind of things. And it was around the time of the financial crash of 2008 when I kind of made the decision to yeah, I mean, that wasn't why I made the decision, but I just knew coming up to that point that this wasn't what I was meant to do, that I was meant to be doing something else in the world. So I made a completely intuitive and instinctive decision to retrain as a coach and a hypnotherapist. And that's the path that I've been on ever since. But what I noted when I left finance, I was like, I never really want to be doing any of that stuff ever again. I just want to help people and, be on this kind of spiritual journey. And a lot of spiritual people can feel very disconnected from money or feel that money's a bad thing. And I think I had a lot of that going on. But what I recognized through my work of starting my own business and working with more women who were doing the same things is that so many of us have got all of this stuff around money. And, my work as a hypnotherapist enabled me to work with that and bring this stuff up to the surface for myself and the clients that I was working with. And it was an area that I actually focused on, like money mindset and helping people around money, for a good 2 or 3 years in my business. But then I kind of lost the love again for money. Poor old money. I kind of keep losing the love.
It's a love-hate relationship. That's the whole point.
It is. And, I started focusing on other things in my business. And, my thing is about being unbound and unbinding ourselves from, all of the beliefs we have about who and how we should be in the world. But through talking to Tonia, and I think, we were obviously meant to connect, and kind of rediscovering this passion and this idea that we can see abundance and money, we can experience it in a different way. So I think, that's why we really felt called to have this conversation, or to start this conversation this evening. So yeah, that's kind of briefly who we are. And we met earlier this year at Mama Gina's mastery program, which we both attended.
Absolutely.
And completely randomly ended up sitting next to each other.
Not random at all.
Exactly.
Nothing is ever by accident, because her and I have been talking now every morning, doing one of these exercises that we learned, a tool from that workshop. And it's kind of like what inspired us to do this Facebook Live and to do what we are now. And just like, we have so much fun every morning talking, and we basically talk about a topic and remove the charge around it. And that's where we started to realize we had this similarity of like, started to not really like the word abundance. And there was this charge on abundance, and both having, a money background, we started to realize, well, what is this that we have? And like, let's start unpacking it. And we started to just see like, oh, wow, like we have a negative relationship right now with abundance because of the way it is being used out there in the world. And we realized through our conversation that it was this, oh, be abundant and come join my abundance program. And you have to pay a certain amount of money. And it's like, well, what is this abundance? Like, it's just being overused, and it's kind of being used for this trendy thing. So we decided to open up our circle. And if we have this much fun, why not have fun with others and start having a discussion around abundance and what it means to other people and what it means to us.
Absolutely. And it's so interesting. I, like you say, Tonia, I had completely switched off from the word abundance, didn't really feel a connection to it. It's like, that's a nothing word. It's kind of this fluffy kind of word that has been so overused. And there was this idea that, like abundance is outside of you, and you had to do these certain things or be a certain way to be able to access abundance, and that you just needed more information in order to do that, and that somebody else had the information, So my experience of it was that, for myself and the women in my community, it was just another kind of stick. It became another stick to beat ourselves with. It's like, you're not feeling abundant, or you're not making the money you want to. There must be something wrong with you, and you need somebody else to help you to change that. And the idea of redefining abundance, it's something that it's so interesting, because it came up when we were like doing our daily spring cleans. I think we use those very words, redefining abundance. And then, I run an online community, and like the same theme was coming up. We were focusing on abundance a couple of months ago, and the same theme came up, this like real kind of craving to redefine this word, this concept that had become so kind of overused that we've become disconnected from it.
Yeah. And I think I love it. This is why I love working with you, because anytime you talk, it inspires and clicks all these things in my mind about abundance. And then like what you said, there was this fixing aspect that ended up happening, or it made you feel broken. If you weren't feeling abundant, or if money wasn't coming to you easily, it was almost like, well, what am I doing wrong? What's not happening? And it's almost like there's this false image of abundance, because no one's talking about the duality of it, or in order to be abundant, you have to go onto the other side of it, which means you have to let go of things, which is painful, but that's your body making room for the abundance to come in. But we're not talking about that, or the negative feeling that comes with it, because everybody needs to be positive, be abundant, be, be that face. And it's like, it doesn't work that way. Like, you can't have abundance without going in a place of lack and realizing and getting clear around what it is you want to let go. So there's this fixing aspect to it, and that's just not true. It's all a part of that process of being abundant.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I really want to dive in there. I just want to say, for those of you watching, because like Tonia and I are just kind of like really getting into our own conversation, but we really want you to be part of the conversation. So if you have any questions or comments that you'd like to make, and I'm just checking to see if there are any comments coming through, then please do ask them. We welcome those, and we will kind of answer your questions and comment on your insights if you have any, if you want to share them with us. But what I wanted to say about what Tonia was just saying is, just talking about the duality. This is really, really interesting, because there was this idea that you had to be a certain idea, or there still is this idea, in a lot of the content out there, that you have to be a particular way in order to access abundance. And a huge part of the work that I do, and that we both do, is about, being really fully expressed in the world, and allowing all of our emotions, all of our feelings, allowing ourselves to feel those and acknowledge those and to express those. And this is certainly something that I was hearing from the women in my community, was like, this idea that, I don't think I can access abundance or be as abundant as I want to be, because, I'm not feeling that great at the moment, and I've got all of this stuff going on. Or there are times when I feel in lack, and there's this idea that if you feel in scarcity and lack at all, then that kind of blocks you from abundance. Mm-hmm. And it's like, no, you're going to feel it all, and you can feel both. You can like switch from one to the other within a moment. And when you realize that, it allows you to recognize that abundance isn't outside you, it's you are abundance. And when you allow yourself to be fully expressed, this is a key connection which I think isn't really spoken about too much, and it's really important, particularly probably, Tonia, for the people in our community. I know certainly, I work mainly with women, and a lot of women have been made to feel wrong because mm-hmm. they got these emotions and these feelings coming up. And it makes them feel that shuts them off from the opportunity to experience abundance.
And that's exactly it. And I think that's what also led us to wanting to share this conversation about abundance and doing this Facebook Live, is that what we came to the conclusion of is how easily it is to be abundant, and that it's not this actions to be taken, that it's a state of being, and that it's very simple to access. And it's gratitude, it's nature. Like, go out into nature, go into a forest that is lush and green, go by the water that is vast, and just like, you just see it all over the place. Like, go to a flower and just see, like, abundance is all around us. It's a state of being. It's actually not even money. And what the money comes into the account, it is knowing that when we trust and have faith in ourselves, that the universe provides us with what it is that we want. And I feel like there's such a disconnect as to what it's being equaled into a dollar amount now, or what is it that you want, or just to money, when that's not what abundance is. It's a state of being, and that's not equal to a dollar amount.
Absolutely. And this point about nature, it's easy just to go, oh, well, what does that mean? It's easy to say that, but truly, if you like go out and spend time in nature, nature is our greatest teacher when it comes to abundance. And nature shows us that it's not all about, oh, I'm just going to put on a happy face and think positive. Like, mm-hmm. Nature
Exactly.
Everything happens in nature. You know, there's death, there's letting go, there's destruction, you know, all of this. And there's also like such like wild beauty as well. Nature doesn't hold back, but we've kind of been taught that we have to hold back. We have to be a particular way in order to kind of follow this system and to make money and access abundance, when in fact the opposite is true. And we want to let all of that kind of wildness and also like the cyclical nature of nature, you know, the cycles.
The cycle.
Exactly. But again, we've been taught that we have to do things in this really linear, step-by-step way where we have to be in action all the time. And, you know, we've both experienced the case that that is definitely not true.
No, it's the definite way to kind of, I think, block the abundance, or as we now call it, the magic of things, is just getting into the doing versus being in the space of just being appreciative and knowing what it is that we want is going to come. And I remember there was a story where it's also in wanting to be abundant, you have to let go of what it is that you want most, or be willing to let go of what it is that you want most in order to have that. Whereas when you do a goal and are taught to just go and do, it's do whatever it takes, push it through, and just all of these kind of hard ways of doing it. And it kind of messes with the flow. So it's also starting to learn how to know when to also pull back, and that waiting sometimes actually is the hardest action to do, because we're not taught that waiting is actually an action, because we're not doing. But it is.
Exactly. And this is why it's so powerful, because look, we know this stuff, but still,
just because we know it doesn't mean that it's for us to believe it.
It's the hardest thing to do nothing. Or it, you know, it feels like you're doing nothing. It's like, oh my God, well, I should be, you know, sitting at my desk or doing something on social media or creating some content or, you know, trying to find clients. I should be doing something because that's what we're taught to do. Whereas actually, you know, the true nature of abundance and your true nature means that there are definitely times, and probably more often than you would expect, where it is much more powerful to, you know, step back and to rest and to allow yourself to make space for what wants to come through.
Yeah, and I think that also I had a problem with the meaning to be, because like I felt like, what does it mean to be? Like, what, I'm a doer, controller, or reformed doer and controller, and so there was this, oh, being. Well, I don't know how to be. What does that even mean? And that's why I bring up nature, because I started to learn what that meant when I was in this space of nature. Like, oh, being means is just appreciating its gratitude for all that there already is, versus focusing on the future and what I want. I mean, it's being present to the moment and appreciating all the beauty that there is. And then that allows for the state of being of abundance and being present to the now.
Absolutely. And you're getting some love, Tonia, for that waiting is an action step. Tammy Coy.
I'll take that. That's right, Tammy. The waiting is not easy. We all know that.
Genius coming through there. And, you know, like I said, this, because it's not about information, it's not about having more information, it's not about having more content. And maybe, you know, you're tuning into this thinking, well, you know, can you give me a step-by-step where I can get more abundance? And we both know it would be lovely. We could do that because we've both got a lot of experience. So we could, you know, we could give you a system, we could give you the step-by-steps, but we both know that that is not the most powerful way to experience abundance. And in fact, it can get in the way of you experiencing abundance. So, and it's challenging to kind of be in this place of kind of letting go and not knowing and allowing, like having a powerful intention, But, you know, as Tonia said, like letting go of your attachment to kind of what you, or any expectation about how that might come to you. So this is why we're really passionate about kind of creating community around this, because we've experienced the magic of, you know, we come together every day, pretty much every day, as Tonia says. And really, every single time it's like, oh my goodness, this, you know, we're coming together just to kind of clear the charge on whatever's coming up for us each day. And, you know, we have a lot of the time that has been around abundance or money. And this stuff has been kind of coming through, because this is what happens when you come together with another person or other people. This magic starts to happen where, yeah, you just get to change your perspective and see things from this, I don't want to say higher level, but you're able to kind of see things very differently, and then you start to relate to things in your life very differently, which is really, really powerful. So have you found that with when you're working with clients, Tonia? Because I know we've both spoken about how you know, there is this kind of shame generally and like secrecy around money, that we're kind of taught not to talk about it.
That's all I mean, that's mainly what I do with my clients. I mean, I have the organizing, I do the budgeting, and I do all of that. But part of what, you know, whole part of what I do is to hold people's hands to know and be there for when the charges come up of the shame, of the guilt, of the I don't know. And that's the whole point. And that is why what we're doing today is to stop making money a taboo topic, because the first thing my clients say in the first half hour to hour is like, wow, this is a lot easier than I thought it was. Or wow, I can't believe I was holding on to those beliefs for so long, because we're not taught to talk about it, or we're not taught that there's a safe space to talk about it, which is why we're starting to do this, because we just want to start having conversations. I mean, me and Nicola both have our background in money, and yet we're still, even this morning, we just did a clean on money, and we realized that there was still a charge on it. So it's constantly doing that. So we want to bring it into a conversation and to stop making it be this thing that no one talks about, because why not? Like, money is in our everyday life. Let's stop giving it all the power and start empowering ourselves around it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because, you know, what it makes me realize is this is not a one-off process. You know, you don't kind of clear a block or a limiting belief around money and then it's like, oh, that's done now. I'm open to a new level. It is. You do. It ebbs and it flows. And, you know, we both happily admit that this stuff comes up continually. It's like, oh, come on. And like really simple, basic stuff. Sometimes it's like, oh, no. But, you know, that's why it's so powerful to come together with somebody else and to have these kind of conversations. It makes you realize, okay, there's not something wrong with me. I'm not deeply flawed.
And it helps to have someone that you're co-creating with. And there is something about speaking it and being witnessed by another person. I've learned that that's helped me let go of things. I know I've had a problem with, oh, what do you mean just let go? You just let go and that's how it happens? But no, it's saying it to another person and then they acknowledge you, like, I see you, which is why doing this live was so important. And what we're going to now introduce next in doing opening up is basically doing a sacred circle where people start to feel safe and get to be acknowledged and have a space where they could talk about money safely, so they could start letting go of all the shame, the guilt, or even celebrate the good stuff that's happening with it, but allowing money to be something that gets talked about in a safe place.
Absolutely. So what we do, you know, we really see this as the beginning of a conversation, and we could both talk about this for hours, but we're not going to.
That's why we're like 7:24. That's because we could keep going for hours on this.
And, you know, this is not about, you know, creating a program, something, you know, more information for you to, you know, you need to feel that you have. No, what we are inviting you to be part of is like Tonia said, this sacred circle of people who come together with a shared intention of reconnecting, like restoring yourself to your true nature, which is abundance, and reminding yourself that you are abundant and experiencing money in a different way. And, you know, we both know through our experience, both personally and through working with clients, that, and this is, you know, people kind of don't tell you this because you know, there is almost like this kind of veil, and it's like, oh, you need to kind of know all of this to come behind the curtain and access abundance. But the number one way of clearing stuff around money is to talk about it, to share it, and to be witnessed by somebody else. And in my experience, you know, it's powerful to do that one-on-one, but when we do it in community, when we do it within a group, it kind of supercharges everyone's intentions, and that act of really letting go and dissolving this stuff that's been getting in the way.
Yeah. And really, it's to just have us all see that we have all the answers within us. And when we're in a group, you see it in someone else. And if you see it in someone else, then they are a mirror for what you know to be true. So it actually happens, like Nicola was saying, at a faster rate. So it's waking you up to this genius that you already have. And it's so simple, and it's just doing it in a way that, again, is just in a safe space so that we could just learn, oh, we already got this, versus the message that the world, society says, which makes it really hard and makes money hard, when it's really not. It's something that we know and is in our cellular memory, that no, it's a state of being, and it's time to just start waking up to that inner genius of that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And something came through then that I was going to say, and it's completely gone because you were like,
yeah, in my download or something.
No, just, you know, I think the important thing there is to know the answer is always within you. So we are creating this sacred circle around abundance, redefining abundance, and like really bringing the magic back into money. And it's really going to be a co-creative space. We're holding the space, and we do both have a lot of expertise in this area, both in money and also kind of working around like the stories we tell ourselves about money and blocks and limiting beliefs. Yeah, we do. But we're inviting you into this circle. Yeah, we do. It's true.
We know that.
But the powerful thing about this circle is going to be the opportunity to be in community and to ask questions, to share challenges, to talk about how you feel about money and your experience of that. And through that, that's what creates the change and the sense of opening and expansion. It's really allowing yourself to receive that and to be witnessed is the really powerful thing.
And it does. It creates the freedom. And I remember reading, like, magic is just the change in perspective. And that is what we're creating. Is we want to invite you to start seeing the magic in your everyday life, and have this circle that you could start inviting it in and sharing maybe things that you don't feel comfortable sharing in with your regular, you know, with people in your life, because it's still not something that's a safe space yet. So we're doing it, I think it's October 16th. And it's going to be, you know, a 2-hour live. It's virtual that we're doing it. And, you know, we're going to start it off with a meditation and a visualization on creating abundance and just getting ourselves in that space, and then opening up the circle to just start sharing our beliefs around abundance, around money, or whatever's come up to start just talking about what's going on with you and what do you feel blocks you around that topic.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, you know, we will be there to, you know, share insights and to share our experience. Absolutely. But, you know, the main thing here is about having that mix of whoever is going to step forward to be part of this circle. Everyone is going to be bringing something unique and special and important to this space. and like the potency of the magic. And we don't talk about magic lightly, you know, really, this is going to be a magical experience. That is going to be co-created. So yeah, it's on October the 16th. We will share the link below this video so that you can join us for that. And you know, for those of you who've joined us live, thank you. It's lovely to see your comments. And Tammy, you're saying thank you both for a refreshing approach to abundance. Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome, Tammy. Yeah, she's on it, and that's what she does too. So she's in the spiritual world and also knows that the abundance have become this word. So thank you, Tammy.
Exactly. Yeah, we really appreciate that. I could say a lot more, but I'm conscious.
And we will, and that's what the 16th is for us to just keep doing that. And really, we want to co-create and just start having a fun space to start talking about money and all that goes on with it.
Absolutely, and we want you to be part of it. So if you're feeling the call, yeah, come join us on the 16th. I think really it's going to be, you know, about the live session. So you want to make sure if you're signing up that you're able to join us for the live session, because it is going to be like happening there.
Interactive.
Yeah. And if you're watching the recording of this and you've got any questions for either of us, do post them below the video, because we'll both be checking in to see those. But yeah,
it's been a pleasure, everyone. Yeah. Thank you so much for spending time with us tonight.
We really appreciate it. And I'm sure we'll see you again soon in one way or another. Yeah. Here's to being your most magical selves.
Cheers to that. Good night, everyone.
Bye.